Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel Debugging with Sim. So today I want to talk about a question that people ask me all the time. How long does it actually take to learn coding? But there's no specific answer. So instead of giving you some vague answer, I'm going to tell you the real timeline based on my own journey and how long it took me to go from learning the basics to actually building things confidently, and how long it usually takes for most people. So, when I started, my first month wasn't a complete disaster. I understood the basics, the HTML, CSS, and a bit of logic in JavaScript. But the real truth is, I didn't feel confident at all. I would understand the loops and functions, but the next day I would forget some parts of it. I would write lines of code and I would immediately get doubtful. Should I Google it again? Am I writing it correct? Will there be an error? And this is the phase where coding feels like a puzzle. The pieces are all scattered. Like you understand each piece individually, but you just can't see the full picture yet. And I think this is totally normal. Every beginner goes through this little confusion plus slow clarity phase. And you're not lost, we're just connecting dots. Then, after the first month, things started to change. This is when I started building small front end projects, small, simple landing pages, portfolio layouts, or simple forms. Nothing big, but enough to boost my confidence. You know that addictive feeling of writing something and seeing it appear on the screen? So, this month felt like leveling up in a game, and you suddenly start connecting all the pieces you learned before. So, you understand why things work, not just how. So, even if your projects look basic, this is one of the most important phases because you finally shift from learning coding from tutorial to actually building something. Then comes the backend. Front end felt smooth, but the backend it actually takes its time. It took me around 2 months to actually feel confident in APIs or authentications and servers and connecting the front end and back end. And honestly, backend isn't hard, it's just unfamiliar. This is the phase where we write the actual code and then we spend 40 minutes debugging that code. So it's the phase where the brain shifts from just building the UI to building the logic behind that UI. And once it clicks, it clicks. I still remember the first time I built a complete backend flow myself without watching a tutorial video open on another tab. And that moment, it felt like a real developer for the first time. And that is why most people struggle here because backend exposes one important thing. If you rely too much on tutorials, you won't grow. And this is where the self learning starts. When you get errors, you Google them, you read the documentations, and understand how things work under the hood. Your confidence grows here, not because things become easy, but because you learn how to solve the problems without panicking. By the time you reach around 5 or 6 months of consistent learning, coding stops feeling like this big crazy thing and you actually start enjoying it. You stop being afraid of the errors. You stop copying code line by line. And instead of asking can I even do this? You start asking, okay, how do I want to build this? And honestly, this isn't just my experience. I think for most people, the timeline looks pretty similar. The first month is basics mixed with a little confusion, and the next 2-3 months are small front end projects, and the months 3 to 5 are where backend slowly starts to make sense. And by months 5 or 6, you can build full projects and create the portfolio level work. But the biggest thing I learned is that coding has almost nothing to do with being naturally talented. It's all about consistency. Someone who codes 1 hour every day will progress way faster than someone who sits for 8 hours once a week. And when you show up regularly, even slowly, your brain starts treating coding like a familiar language instead of like a new subject. And confidence doesn't suddenly appear one morning, it comes from habits. You get better because you break things and then you fix them. You Google your errors and you understand something. Sometimes you forget some things and then you relearn it. And you repeat that cycle over and over again. That's literally what coding is made of. So when people ask how long does it take, the truth is that there's no fixed number. Some people get comfortable in 3 months, some in 6, and some take actually a year. And I think all of that is normal. What actually matters is that if you stay consistent for even 6 months, you will genuinely be shocked at what you can build. It happened with me as well. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to like rush. You're not in a race. And you're not late, obviously. If you're just starting, my biggest advice is don't wait for the day you feel ready. You start building tiny things right now and break things without overthinking. When you break, you will know how to fix. You write messy code, you experiment with your code, and every developer you admire today started exactly where you were. They were confused, they were curious as well, and they were also trying their best. And if you want, I can share the exact roadmap I followed to learn web development, DSA, and build my projects. Just comment roadmap and I'll make that for my next video. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and all the best for your coding journey.